The 5-second rule for me means starting something 5 seconds after deciding, if possible.
Hello everyone, I'm Yopi from Yopi's English School. 皆さんこんにちは、ヨピでございます。本日取り上げるクリップは How I Keep My Life Decluttered 人生をミニマルに保つ方法というもの。様々なものや情報で溢れる現代においてミニマリズムを実践し続けるニコラスさん。ただ今回の動画では断捨離のやり方や少ないもので暮らす方法といったようなものではなく、人生をよりシンプルにミニマルに送るための考え方をシェアしてくれています。その後にはクリップ内に登場したネイティブがよく使うけどあまり日本では習わない英会フレーズ、これを解説していきます。ぜひ最後までご覧ください。By the way, if you want to see the original clip, there's a link down below. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
The Ohio method. No, not the state, and no, not Japanese good morning. The Ohio method stands for only handle it once. And this ranges from things like decluttering, organizing, or getting a task done. When it comes to decluttering or organizing, when I pick up an item, I make it a point to put that item in its permanent location rather than setting it down temporarily just to have to deal with it later. A perfect example is when I walk in the front door with my backpack. All I want to do is throw it onto the nearest surface, but knowing I'll have to pick it back up later to put it away is just really annoying. And that alone is enough to get me to put it away in its correct space right away. And when it comes to getting things done, a perfect example is with my emails. If I open up a new tab for my emails, I make sure to just take care of all the ones I need to respond to, even if I don't have a response ready in that moment. So this might mean spending a little bit more time than I initially had planned to do this, but ultimately, it's always better than having to come back to it later. The 5-second rule. Something that I've learned doesn't really work for me is over-planning and over-preparing. The 5-second rule for me means starting something 5 seconds after deciding, if possible. This means if, for example, I know I need to start laundry or do the dishes, I will start that task literally within 5 seconds of deciding. And the reason for this is that it stops procrastination, as well as just spending too much time planning to actually do it, or when to do it. Because by the time I've started, the task is usually completed before I even realize it. Obviously, there's a time and place for everything, because certain things require a little bit more careful thinking. But I found this works especially well in routine tasks or habits I'm trying to make consistent. Create a burner email for junk. Something that I've personally done and that I found incredibly useful was to create an email address that was dedicated to non-important purposes. A lot of times when signing up for a free trial or just downloading an app, I was required to enter an email address. Afterwards, I would end up receiving emails for the service indefinitely until I unsubscribed. Several years ago, I created a burner email that's sole purpose is to be used for these non-important, non-essential emails. I know this might sound too simple, but having my main email only ever really get things I consider important and worth reading is just really nice. Because I know when something does show up in that main email address, it's for the most part something I specifically want there because I provided that email address. Embrace enough over seeking the next thing. For the longest time, I was stuck in this loop of once I have this, I can finally accomplish that. And this really was a perpetual loop. It caused me to never be content with what I had, and it held me back from doing things until I had what I thought I needed. Once I learned to be grateful for what I had, I really found this level of contentment I never before experienced. Since embracing and enjoying my current possessions, there have now been several times where I look at things I use on a daily basis, some of them really old, and really just feel that same joy I had when I first got it. My camera was a 4-year-old model when I got it, and now almost an additional 4 years later, I'm still as excited to use it as I was on day one. I think a lot of what caused me to seek out the next thing was boredom and comparison. A new model, whatever, would be coming out, and it was always highlighting the things the older model couldn't do. Unfortunately, these are consumer tactics that make us feel like what we have is outdated and needs to be replaced right away. Being content with what I have has ultimately led me to create more than I consume, and of course, saved me a lot of money.
はい、いかがだったでしょうか。では続いて、クリップ内に出てきたネイティブがよく使うけどあまり日本では習わない英会フレーズ、これを解説していきます。一つ目はこちら。
And that alone is enough to get me to put it away in its correct space right away. And that alone is enough to get me to put it away in its correct space right away.
Alone. 何々だけで。 もちろんこの alone には一人でや孤立したという意味があるのは皆さんご存知かと思います。でもその他にもネイティブがよく使う alone の表現があるんです。それが何々 alone で何々だけでという使い方。例えば You alone can solve the problem といえばあなただけが問題を解決することができますという意味になります。就職したい言葉の直後に alone を置くだけで何々だけでという意味になります。もう一つ例文を見ていきましょう。The evidence alone is not enough to convict him. The evidence alone is not enough to convict him. その証拠だけでは彼を有罪にするには不十分だという意味になります。The evidence alone でその証拠だけでですね。alone の2つ目の使い方ご理解いただけたでしょうか。では続いてのフレーズです。
I know I need to start laundry or do the dishes. I know I need to start laundry or do the dishes.
Do the dishes. Do the dishes. 皿洗いをする。これ初めて日常会話で出てきたらどういう意味かわからないですよね。もちろん wash the dishes ということもあるんですが wash the dishes が単にお皿を洗うことだけを指すのに対し do the dishes はお皿を洗って拭いてそれを棚に戻してといったことまで含みます。そういったいろんな動詞をひっくるめて do するやるに集約しているといったイメージでしょうか。日本語でもお皿やっといてと言ったら通じますかね。家庭にもよるかもしれませんが要はそういったイメージです。例文を一つだけ見ていきます。 I'll do the dishes if you cook dinner. I'll do the dishes if you cook dinner. 君が夕食を作るなら僕が後片付けをするよ。ここでは皿洗いではなく後片付けと訳してみました。意外と使う機会の多いフレーズです。覚えておきましょう。では続いてのフレーズ。
Obviously, there's a time and place for everything. Obviously, there's a time and place for everything.
There's a time and place for everything. There's a time and place for everything. 何事にも時と場所というものがある。これは直訳でも分かりやすいフレーズです。すべての行動や言動には適切なタイミングと場所があることを示し、時と場合をわきまえる必要があるという意味です。例えば、I understand you're upset, but there's a time and place for everything. I understand you're upset, but there's a time and place for everything. 君が怒っているのは理解できるけど、何事にも時と場所があるんだ。こんな風に人をたしなめたり、諭したりするときに使えそうです。では最後のフレーズに参ります。
And it held me back from doing things until I had what I thought I needed. And it held me back from doing things until I had what I thought I needed.
Hold 誰々 back. Hold 誰々 back. 誰々を引き止める、妨げる。何かをしようとする意思を他の人や状況が阻止するまたは制限することを表します。後ろ back から掴まれている hold というイメージだと分かりやすいでしょうか。もちろん hold me back の他に hold you back とか hold her back など人を指す単語を入れることができます。例えば Don't let anyone hold you back from achieving your goals. Don't let anyone hold you back from achieving your goals. 誰にもあなたの目標達成を妨げさせないでなんて使い方ができます。この例文のように hold you back from 何々ということで何をするのを妨げるのかを付け加えることができます。他にも例えば Negative thoughts often hold me back from reaching my full potential. Negative thoughts often hold me back from reaching my full potential. ネガティブな考えがしばしば私が本来の能力を発揮するのを妨げるなんて使い方ができます。人生において自分の妨げになっていることをこの hold me back という表現を使って表してみましょう。本日は How I Keep My Life Decluttered 人生をミニマルに保つ方法というクリップを見ながらネイティブが使うリアルな英語を学びました。クリップ内の英語についてわからないところがあれば時間が許す限り回答させていただきます。ぜひコメント欄で共有してください。Alright, so this is it for today. See you next time.